Hey, it's Mike Randall. We're back with another segment of MITech TV. And we have with us today Jamie Cooper, who been working with for a number of years in the cannabis space, because as you may all know, cannabis, recreational cannabis, and of course medical marijuana is legal in this state. And Jamie's been really active in that area. Let's talk about some of your activities in the cannabis space first before we get started.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having me on the show. I really appreciate the time. So, I have been working in cannabis since 2015. I hosted my very first it was women focused, but networking event in Grand Rapids for cannabis entrepreneurs, January 2016. So, I've been hosting events since then. I launched a networking and lead referral organization called Cannabis Connection, and
Hmm.
then that was in 2018. And then also in 2018, I launched Cincy Magazine in Michigan and ran that for about 6 years and hosted events throughout all of those years, survived COVID miraculously. But yeah, like just been really focused on community building in cannabis and, especially on the industry and bringing consumers into that now because it totally is a lifestyle and a culture.
So, tell us a little bit about what you see as the near-term future. There's a lot of uncertainty, both in the economy and in the cannabis industry. So how do you help businesses in the cannabis industry sort of navigate this changing landscape?
Yeah, so like the market is going through some pretty serious challenges right now. We've hit this level of saturation where pricing has plummeted. Is We're at the bottom of the barrel, I think, and how long we're going to be there, I don't know. But right now we're seeing a lot of cannabis businesses actually going under. There's a lot of mergers and acquisitions happening. And a lot of companies are actually cutting their marketing budgets,
Hmm.
which really breaks my heart because it's not something that anybody in business should be doing if they're looking to grow. I understand that there are times where the economy and we go through recessions and the economy gets a little unstable, but the best thing that you can do during that is actually invest into marketing because there's a lot of people that are pulling that money back, and it's an opportunity for a lot of companies. I always like to use the analogy. It's like putting two radios side by side. Let's say you turn the volume up on one and you turn the volume down on the other. Think of that as a marketing budget. If you're turning the volume up on one, you're going to hear the radio that had turned the volume up, and you're not going to hear the one that turned the volume down. So think of a marketing budget like that. So anyone who is investing into marketing right now is actually snagging market share from those that have scaled back significantly. And I've done a number of presentations on this topic. There are companies like Kellogg and Netflix and Uber and Toyota that have done this. That during a recession they actually scaled up and they were able to get a lot of market share and grow their companies. So that's really like a lot of what I do is high level strategy and advising for cannabis brands and helping them get through these times of uncertainty.
Well, yeah, what you just described actually is the Japanese marketing strategy. I've been covering technology for a long time, and they look at it as stealing market share. When the market's going down and your competitors aren't advertising, they increase their advertising to take that customer away from you. Now, all the tricks that you've learned in a challenging cannabis marketplace, you're now offering also to the general business marketplace, and that's why we have you on the show today. Talk about that. So, what are you offering general business?
So Jim, like what I come in is I look at what you're doing, what has worked, what hasn't worked, and really help build out that strategy around, what does your digital presence look like? What does your social media look like? How are you doing on the SEO side of things? What does your brand look like? And I work with the business owner to put together a high level strategy, and then we work to really correct it. And we don't when you're investing in marketing, you don't want to hemorrhage your money. You don't want to spend your money on tactics that aren't working. So we really dig deep and look at what is working and what could work and what are your competitors doing, and how can you set yourself apart from those other companies?
So, you mentioned so many marketing channels are available these days. There's social media, there's SEO, there's all sorts of things. How does, in particular, the businesses that I admire the most, kind of, because it's so hard what they do, how do small businesses fill all these roles, without hiring a dedicated staff of like half a dozen people to do social media and SEO?
That is a really great question because you're absolutely right. Marketing is very, very broad. And, like I focus on the strategy level. And then what we do is we have to bring in, a social media team and you can do that by contract. I, I highly recommend looking at fractional roles to help fill those needs. Bring someone in who can really think about the strategy, and then you can do some 1099s with service providers to help manage your social media, to do your SEO, and so because it's going to cost a lot more money to bring someone in house to do all of those things. So that's really my suggestion. And you don't like you can baby step your way there. You don't have to go all or nothing at the beginning. We look at what, is most important immediately, and really focus on revenue generating activities and tactics, something that's really going to drive money through the door. And I always recommend that companies build their marketing with a community approach, bringing those that are interested in your service together and really offering a better value to them.
Hmm.
So, um, those are great strategy ideas, certainly. But let's also talk about the various services you offer. Now, out of that wide range of various things that can be offered in marketing, do you offer all of them? Some of them?
Well, I work with a lot of service providers that, will help on the social media side and SEO and website building and those types of things. Me personally, me and my team focus on the strategy and helping execute that. And then I always offer like a small, medium, large type of package. You have companies that just really want to go all in and invest a good amount of money into marketing, and then you have some companies that just want to start off small, and that's understandable. So I try to offer a package that's going to work with any sort of budget type. Please put together a budget for your company. There's a lot of companies that when I start working with them, they don't have a budget at all.
Hmm.
And so it's important to make sure that you're tracking that so you know what is working and what isn't.
So, how did you get your start in business? I'm always curious as to when, people sort of give up the steady paycheck every 2 weeks and decide to launch their own company. How did you get started?
Well, it happened for me in 2016. I moved to Michigan from Colorado, and excuse me, when I came to Michigan, I came from a leaf state, so thinking of cannabis, I wasn't in cannabis at all.
Hmm.
And so I came to Michigan from Colorado. I saw everything happening in Colorado, and it really piqued my interest. I came to Michigan, and the cannabis space was nowhere near what Colorado was. I mean, there was a caregiver program, and there were not legal businesses. And so it piqued my interest, and I knew that eventually Michigan was going to be where Colorado was. And I started kind of like just doing kind of part-time work in the industry. And within about a year and a half, I became obsessed. And it's all I could think about. And so I actually had to quit my day job, because all I could think about was my future and the opportunities that existed in the industry. And so it's a hard decision to make. And quite honestly, if I could go back and do it over, I probably wouldn't have quit my job so quickly. But it's, they say hindsight 2020, and I think it's something that entrepreneurs that, you just got to learn. And over 10 years of entrepreneurship, I've learned a lot of really hard lessons in the process. And each year I feel like I do get a bit smarter and try not to make the same mistakes again.
How does the audience reach out to you if they need marketing help?
Yeah, you can shoot me an email. It's Jamie at coopercreativeco.com. And that's my website is dissectco.com, and you can go on there and kind of see the different levels of strategy consultation that I do.